Hello there and welcome. I am Genna and I'm a canine coach dedicated to helping owners better understand their dogs so they can live their best lives with their best good friends. Today we're going a little deeper on what I mean by owner-focused coaching because the owner is always the missing puzzle piece. What I mean by owner-focused is that I can train a dog all day long, but they are not my dog. They're your dog. And training creates a relationship. And without that relationship, your dog is going to come to their own conclusions. So it's up to us as humans to learn to read and understand the canine language. And that is body language, body pressure, spatial pressure, learning the very nuanced physical cues that they give off, and also understanding each individual dog as a whole. Because just like us, dogs are different. Dogs know how to make choices. They have preferences. They have personality traits. That's why we love them so much. We have had our human fingerprints all over dogs for centuries. So obviously they are so in tune with us, and yet be a creature that is so in tune with us can be so far removed because we want to apply human emotions to an animal. And an animal with their own set of emotions, with their own set of processing things. And by over-humanizing or failing to truly understand our dog in an effort to love them more, we wind up doing more of a disservice. So in my canine coaching, that is my most important emphasis, is making sure that owners understand how to not only do the training, but apply it in their everyday and do it in a way that makes clear sense to their dogs. They are learning to communicate. They're learning to get their points across clearly. That's how you have a good relationship. That's how you get that good dog. That's how you get a best good friend. When you learn how to use your obedience in your everyday, everything changes. Now, as an owner, you are going to go through a couple of milestones. So let's take, for example, a puppy, bringing home a puppy. Obviously, in the very beginning weeks, we need to be sure that our dog understands their basic routine. Yes, this includes crate training, boundary training, understanding the use of baby gates and why they are so important, understanding why the crate is going to be such an important and effective tool for so many behaviors. But you're in teaching mode. You're going to be in that, I'm wearing my teacher hat, because I'm going to teach you potty training. I'm going to teach you to regulate and to sleep and to rest. I'm going to teach you the very beginning basics of some obedience commands, right? It is always stars and stickers before letter grades. This is when it's fun. This is when I'm obviously not asking a ton of a young puppy because we're trying to develop a relationship. We're trying to set those foundations. Now, once your puppy starts to learn and becomes more proficient in things like sit and down and place and the come command, the beginnings of leash walking, that is when we need to, as owners, shift into a little bit more of accountability mode. And by accountability, I mean holding your dog accountable for behaviors that they know, behaviors that you have practiced, behaviors that you have done your repetitions on. So you can interrupt a not so great behavior and show them exactly what it is that you would rather them do instead without feeling like you're giving them a world full of no. Because learning to communicate with your dog means that you give them another option, that you show them what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Because if we just freewheel, hoping that our dogs will love us because of all of the freedom and the fluffy toys and the endless puzzle feeders that we think makes them feel good, but fail to give them any true structure or guidance, And then all of a sudden we start giving them a world full of no, not that way, no, don't do that, oh gosh, oh no. That is super confusing. That's like if I went to a client's house and I said, you are doing everything wrong, and then I just got in my car and I left. No one is learning anything. So you go from puppyhood of teaching and establishing foundations and the importance of a routine, right? You need to be a parent and not a friend. You're not a friend yet. Then you go into adolescence when those boundaries start to get pushed and you learn how to communicate what you expect more effectively. Then you go into adulthood. And that is when everything starts to get a little more relaxed. Your dog starts to learn how to make better decisions, right? This is the trajectory that everybody hopes for. But if you fail to learn how to truly read your dog, it gets a lot harder to get there. Now, obviously, this does not account for dogs with behavioral issues or other funky situations. Just like everything, teaching owners and their relationship with a dog is just as nuanced as dog training itself. This whole industry is full of nuance because there are so many variables at work. And this includes the owner's participation in the training itself. And part of that is the owners and the dogs learning a brand new language. Obedience is that communication bridge. Obedience teaches a dog exactly what you expect and how to make better decisions, while our human accountability side keeps those bumper lanes up. It allows us to be able to be very clear about no, not that, this, so that a dog can start to naturally make better decisions as they mature. But we'll always have obedience to fall back on. But if we don't know how to use our training in those funky moments, like a dog can know how to sit and stay and win the play stay competition in a group class, but you can't get them to stop jumping all over Mima the moment that she comes through the door because you were never taught how to use the training in the everyday and where and when and why it applies in those moments. That's it. Once upon a time, I used to play the banjo. And now, please, for the love of God, don't ask me to play you a song because I haven't practiced. It wasn't something that was in my everyday for years. But if I decide to brush the dust off of it and do a couple rounds and really go back to basics, I'm sure it'll come back. Dog training is the same. But in order to get there, we need to be fluent in the canine language. And if you don't speak it, it is an entirely one-sided conversation. Owners are not dog trainers. If you were going to become a dog trainer, then you would have become a dog trainer. But most people get a dog in their life because they want a companion. They want that unconditional love. Or so they think. But it's not enough just to want a dog in our lives. We have to understand and come to terms with our lives are not going to stop simply because we got a dog, simply because we got a puppy. It might pause for a second, but it doesn't stop. The school pickup lines are still going to happen. Dinner by 7, it still needs to happen. You still have a life to live. And when obedience feels like too big of a task, this is where owners give up because it feels overwhelming. And they would rather just suck it up about a dog that's not doing some not so great things than feel like I need to invest the time in something that feels so performative that I am losing time in my day that was already devoted to other important things. Now, if you're getting a dog, you obviously need to carve out time to be able to apply all your basics and actually do these things for your animal. That's not changing, duh. But when the training is focused on making it make sense for owners, that is when it's going to stick. And that is the secret to making that training stick, is learning how to have these conversations in your every single day, instead of feeling like you need to wait for those planned performative moments. We need to look for those teachable moments all throughout our day. And remember that as we are teaching our dog what it is that we expect, it is never just no. It is no, I would rather you insert command, whatever it might be. Come, sit, place, right? Part of getting the owner involved and part of the owner's entire role in training a dog for their whole life is being a proactive problem solver. That's how you're gonna get that good dog. That's how you get a good best friend, is being that good coach and being that good parent for your dog. So they understand exactly what it is that you expect of them in the realm of your life. When it starts to feel more natural and less like a performance, the dog also starts to loosen up, because guess what? It goes from less of a series of parlor tricks and more into feeling like they are led, that they can trust you, and that you've got it. You've got it without a shadow of a doubt, that you can help them out and you can remove any feeling of responsibility from our dogs. Because spoiler alert, they don't want to make decisions. When they're freaking out and barking at the window, barking at the door, it's because they were never taught what else to do, and there might be something on the other side, who knows? And so when we can apply our training in the weird moments that you want to stop anyways, that communication becomes more fluid and our dogs start to trust us more and respond more quickly in those moments to what it is that we want them to do. Because that's the goal, isn't it? Our dogs are not going to stop acting like dogs. We don't want robots, but we do want a dog that listens and responds. If we only ever finally decide to provide communication when things start popping off and that behavior that you ignored for long enough becomes something you cannot ignore anymore, and suddenly you want something to do about it, of course it's going to feel like an uphill battle. But if the owner is the focus of the training just as much as training the dog itself, it all becomes a lot simpler. It becomes a easier jigsaw puzzle. We've already got the boundaries and the picture in mind versus having a box dumped out right in front of us. Having the owner understand and learn what dog training means for our dogs means that our dogs are going to be happier in the long run. I'm Genna. Follow along for more real life coaching advice for you and your best good friend. I'll see you in the next one.